Welcome back to The Big Show. It's always nice to see a talented person and a good old friend who can sing like a bird. Alan Jones, how are you?
I'm all right, you know. Getting ready to go off and do songs of praise now, isn't it?
It's Russell Watson, and here we are to think that you've reached the epitome of show business. You've reached the top of your career. We're here about to go on Loose Women. Congratulations.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm very excited. It's my comeback tour, and I really can't wait. What did you think of my Alan Jones impersonation, by the way?
Rubbish, to be honest with you.
Thank you very much indeed. God bless you.
It's been a while since we last spoke, and you know you're one of my favourite people because you're amazing at what you do. You don't take yourself seriously, and you're really funny. There aren't many people who get the balance right in show business, are there?
Oh, bless you. Well, that's very kind of you to say. I mean, I think that certainly over the last sort of 5 or 6 years, I've had a lot of life experience, so you can't be miserable all the time. You've got to try and put a twist on things, especially when you've had a history of illness like I have and come out the other side. So you've got to put a spin on everything and try to stay positive. And I think that's what's got me through, actually. My positive outlook on life has got me through the last 3 or 4 years. So I'm just delighted to be here and still doing what I do. You know, I'm ready to go and have a natter with the loose women. I don't know why they call them loose women, but I guess we'll soon find out.
The last time we spoke was about 3 years ago, and it was unbelievable what happened to you, and so out of the blue, nobody expected it. No. To think you're still here is really a true miracle.
Well, it kind of feels like one, but the thing is that it only seems that it's been. I was talking to my assistant this morning. It's been 4 years since I've been struggling with my health, and it actually only feels like 5 minutes. It's been like it's kind of like a whirlwind. I've almost not had time to think about what's been going on other than my health, and the time has just gone so quickly. And you know, you're looking in the mirror and seeing the odd grey hair that you haven't noticed for a while, and it just seems to have flown. But the thing that I take out of it more than anything is that I'm here and now no longer a victim but a survivor, and it just feels exhilarating to be a survivor, and I'm alive and I'm enjoying life, and I don't want to burn myself out, but I want to take, you know, opportunities. I haven't had a life for 3 or 4 years. I haven't been going anywhere. I haven't really been enjoying myself. I've felt quite reclusive. I felt very uncomfortable when I've been in the public because I put a lot of weight on. I had chunks of my hair missing from the radiotherapy. And it's nice that I've worked hard to get myself back in shape again and feeling good and just good about myself more than anything. And that's crucial. And I'm enjoying life. I'm loving it. I love the experience of meeting new people and doing different things. I love the diversity of the music industry.
I mean, you say you haven't been doing much for the last few years, but shortly after your first tumour, I saw you in Nottingham, and you just blew everybody away. I mean, the voice was still there, and then I think a year later I saw you in Sheffield. I mean, you have been working through this whole thing, and I don't think any of us could understand or believe that it was possible.
I know, but I have a family, I've got a lifestyle to maintain, I've got kids, you know, that have got demands, and I need to keep, like anybody else, you know, whatever industry you're involved in, I've got to keep working, I've got to keep bringing the money, and I can't, like anybody else, I can't afford to sit and do nothing for 3 or 4 years. So it has been tough to kind of maintain my career throughout my illness, but thank God I managed it.
That first show when you came back after being ill the first time, was there any better feeling than feeling that warmth from the crowd? Because I'd never experienced anything in a theatre like it.
That was a really, really incredibly emotional night for me, and it was a very tough night. And I remember specifically it was Ave Maria, and there were 2 spotlights in the theatre, left and right, almost looked like eyes. So all you can see is like this pitch black sheet. I start singing the Schubert Ave Maria. I can see these 2 bright lights shining down at me, and I got this rush, this sensation that I've never experienced before, and the tears started to roll down my face, and I almost felt like I had the eyes of God staring me right in the face, and it was just the most incredible, uplifting experience I've ever had, and it gave me a completely different view on life, and for the first time I sang that aria, if you know what I mean, from inside, not just from my mouth. It came from in here for the very first time. It was such an uplifting moment, something that I wouldn't have experienced if I hadn't have been so ill.
What's interesting about you is you've been given such a great gift, and I've always said this, we joke around a lot, but I mean, your voice is spectacular and totally unique. And you heard that in your first album, and people fell in love with you from that. Did the music get you through your hard times, or did you turn against it? How did it feel for you to be back singing?
I couldn't focus on the music when I was ill. I set myself goals during my sickness, and my goals were... The first goal was to get through the operation. The second goal was, with the radiotherapy, was to get well enough to be able to go through the process of having radiotherapy. So I saw that as goal 2. Then the next process after that was starting to feel well again. Then after that, I started doing a bit of light exercise, and then after that, I started singing again. So there was probably a period of, I don't know, a good sort of 8-9 months where I didn't think or consider singing at all. I was focused purely on each independent moment. I knew that I had a battle. If I saw it as a global thing, oh God, I've got to do this, I've got to get back to singing, I've got to get myself fit. I just concentrated and focused on each singular moment. Operation, radiotherapy, start feeling better, start a bit of training, get back on the road again, and that was the way I did it.
One of the things that's always come through with our interviews is the kids, and that was the first thing I thought about when I read about what had happened. Is there any worse feeling than knowing you're going to have to pass on the news that you had to them?
Well, the first time was the difficult time because I didn't tell anybody about the fact that I had the tumour. In fact, I made a record without telling anybody that I had the brain tumour. And it was the night before I was due to go in surgery that I had to tell the children that I was going. And that was one of the toughest things that I've had to do. In fact, I still find it incredibly difficult to relay that evening. So I probably won't, but it was a very difficult night. You know, the kids were bouncing around on the edge of the bed and we were watching TV, and I was thinking, I've got to tell them that I've got to go and have an operation on a brain tumour tomorrow morning. And it was, I told them, went into the bathroom and just buried my head in a towel for 20 minutes, cried my eyes out, rinsed my face and went, right, come on Watson, let's get back on with it. And that was it. And the next day I was in the car on the way down to the hospital. But with the second one was a shock because I wasn't expecting it. It came from out of the blue. I got ill and I was rushed into hospital in the back of an ambulance. I had paramedics pulling my shirt off and sticking all kinds of things in me and on me, and I couldn't see and genuinely thought I was going to die. The tumour had got bigger, regrown. I was hemorrhaging, and it was incredibly scary. And everything was out of my control at that point. So I didn't have the opportunity to tell the children, so obviously it wasn't as difficult in that respect, but it was incredibly scary. But like I say, the thing that's come out of this, the main thing, the message that I would say that's come out of this is that I am now not a victim. I am a survivor. I fought it. Please God that I've beaten it. I feel, the results are showing that I have, and I feel reinvigorated. My life feels reinvigorated. I feel reinvigorated. I feel like I've been on a journey, but I feel like the journey has given me something that no one else has got. Well, I don't mean that literally. There's a lot of people out there who've been through a damn sight worse than I have. But I feel like it's given me something inside here that I wouldn't have achieved if I hadn't been through the hell. The first set of concerts that I did after the first tumour, I felt like I managed those well. After the second time, I was back pretty quick, and it was hard. I found it tough. And the great thing is that I know how I felt at that time. When I was going up to do the big arias, and it felt like a struggle. It felt like a push. The great thing is now is that I just feel I'm singing so well now, better than I've ever sung, stronger than I've ever felt vocally, and that is really has been massively encouraging, and I can't wait to get back out on the road again. I've got a lot of summer shows coming up this year at some wonderful places, Sandringham and Blenheim and some amazing places, so I'm really excited about that. And I'm doing the UK premiere of Benny and Bjorn's Christina, which, again, talking about poignant moments, is going to be an incredible moment and a fantastic opportunity for me.
I just had the great thrill of flying to Stockholm to speak to Benny and Bjorn about the show, and Bjorn couldn't have been more complimentary about you as a person or you as an act. He's just totally in love with what you've brought to that show. And I just watched clips on the internet because I haven't seen this show. It's as if you were born to do this role.
I felt that way when I stepped onto the stage at Carnegie Hall. Poignant for not just the fact that I was doing this involved in this incredible piece of music, and it is astonishing music, it's beautiful, but because I was back there 4 or 5 years on, and I never thought I'd ever get the opportunity to go back to Carnegie Hall. So to be back there and to be there doing what I do again was just incredible. And we talk about those specific moments in your career, those defining moments, and I mentioned the Ave Maria with the 2 lights, and it was like God was looking from the gods at me, and this was one of those moments as well. And it was special because I remember on the second show, the second Carnegie Hall, so it was our last performance, and it's an amazing story, but it's an incredibly sad story. So it's at the end of the evening that this thing happened to me. There was this gush. I've not really been particularly emotional about what's happened to me, but I was stood on the stage. Christina, who's my wife, is in my arms and she's dying, and I could see the audience were fixated. I'm at Carnegie Hall. All of a sudden, everything that I've been through just washed through me, and I looked down at this woman and it felt real. It just felt real. The whole thing felt real. I was like, God, how would I feel if this was my life, if this situation was my life? And I just, for the second time on stage only ever, I just gushed. It was, and I couldn't control it. You know that when you're crying and you've got that thing where you palpitations and you can't control yourself, and she was kind of looking up at me and I just streaming down my face, and the whole emotion of the evening, of what I'd been through, Carnegie Hall, everything, my career, it just came out in this wash of emotion on that night. And we were walking through, this is a great bit, we were walking through the lobby at Carnegie Hall, and this American woman stood in the middle of the lobby with a few people around her. Benny and Bjorn were there. She went, "Oh my God, Russell?" I was like, "Yeah, hi." She went, "Oh my God, that was just the most incredible thing I've ever seen. You guys on stage as well. I said to my girlfriend, we've never seen anybody act that married." And I said, "Well, thank you very much indeed. That's very kind." And all of a sudden it clicked. Oh my God, it's Meryl Streep. What a compliment. And it just summed up the night and how special, because I'm a big fan of Meryl Streep's as well. It just summed up the night and how special it was and what an amazing moment it had been. And I was just thrilled to be there.
Here's a tribute for you. Bjorn said he'd never met anybody more enthusiastic or passionate. And I said, I know. Because just knowing you, that's the way you are. If you do something, you do it 100%. And really with a show like this, you've got to, because it's really all singing or dancing and your heart's really got to be in it.
Absolutely. Well, I loved their passion as well, and that I couldn't say enough about them in a few sentences. They're just geniuses, and the music is genius. The music that they've created before, all the ABBA stuff. I know, listening to the ABBA stuff in the car. My kids love ABBA, and that's a completely different generation. They love ABBA. It's just amazing, and they're incredible people, and they're very, very humble and very decent human beings, and they're very focused. You can see they want things to be right. The work that went in, the preparation that went into getting the show ready was immense, and we were pushed to the limits, and we had a limited period. We only had 10 days to prepare for a 3-hour show, but the final outcome it was gloves off. The orchestra, the conductor Paul Gemignani, the casting, Christina, Helen. Oh, beautiful voice. Absolutely knocked me over. Couldn't believe how amazing she sounded. Best female vocalist I've ever sung with.
It's interesting you say that, because after I came back from Stockholm, I got in the car and put on your Ultimate Collection, knowing that I was going to talk to you for this. And again, I genuinely believe you are our greatest male singer ever.
Well, that's incredibly kind, and thank you very much.
Congratulations, and thank you for such a lovely interview, and good luck with everything in the future.
Pleasure. Thank you.